Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Hello, hello, hello. I am excited again. I am so honored to have my guest, Abby. She is a co host on TWN Thriving Women Network. And I'm just so honored to have her here with me today. And I'm going to pull her up. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm so excited to be here. I was totally getting with the groove backstage.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm excited to have you here. We have a lot to talk about. And what I'm going to do is take a few minutes and share a little bit about Abby Bagud. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Well,
Pag-
it's Pagud is how my husband says it, but if you ask the Filipino culture, they'll say it's Pagud. So honestly, I went from Walker to Pagud, so it doesn't matter what you call me as long as you do.
I'm going to call you Abby. So, Abby is a powerhouse in the fitness and wellness industry whose journey is as inspiring as it is transformative. Throughout her career, Abby has been dedicated to pushing the boundaries of traditional fitness approaches, constantly seeking innovative strategies to optimize human performance and well being. Her mission to revolutionize the fitness industry is fueled by her commitment to empowering individuals to unlock their full potential and achieve their health goals. Abby is the founder and CEO of Capital Health, is a trailblazer in the fitness industry with over 27. She doesn't look past 27 herself, but with over 27 years of experience and a relentless passion for health and wellness. Armed with a bachelor degree in health and wellness, as well as over 6 certifications that span various specialties, she has become a recognized authority in the field. Her work not only addresses the physical attributes that many strive for, but also raises awareness of how deeply our physical bodies react to our internal environment. So beautiful, beautiful bio. What I'm going to do is give you the floor, and I'd like for you to share your journey and what propelled you to have such a passion for your purpose.
Well, that is a very loaded question, but I will try to answer it to the best of my ability. I actually learned a lot of the method to my madness was following my intuition and my God given abilities. So I actually had just a lot of various things of where, God could kind of set up how my life panned out. And then looking back at things full circle, I started to piece together how all the different influences of individuals, but also my experiences kind of helped catapult me to where I am today. So I very much was an avid athlete, and in having that passion and drive, I didn't ask to be the leader, but I had a commonality of having one coach after the next, and on top of school, like different participation in groups, people would actually place me into leadership positions, and I didn't necessarily understand the reason why until I was actually in those positions and found that I was one of the only people that actually would point out the elephant in the room or strive for more. And in doing so, it also helped me seek for more knowledge of things that I didn't know or understand. And in my schooling, I actually graduated high school early, and I had a really bad head injury in my freshman year of high school that led to me becoming less involved with my basketball career and where my focus was hopefully for college purposes. And I became very deconditioned and actually had to learn. There was a lot more about rehabilitation, becoming deconditioned, and understanding the body that was more mindful for healing. And then that journey actually took me to finding the sport of golf. And then I graduated early and then attended David Ledbetter Golf Academy in Bradenton, Florida, for 2 years. And then that immensely it not only cultured me, but it also provided me a lot of the awareness of what the mechanics are in putting out performance and getting your body to do what it needs and what you nourish your body with, and not only through your mind, but also through adequate nutrition. It also really affects your performance and how you can execute and get to where you're going to be. And from there, it kind of took its own journey. It got me focused in the studies that I wanted to expand on. And then when I kept following that road, it became very clear that I had a mission that was different than a lot of people in the industry. I could very easily see where there were some loopholes, or how the industry was designed for 25% of the population that is well regimented, not for 75% that are pissed off and irritated on what the industry has pitched and told them they're going to get, not actually the results to which they haven't received. And so that's when I really started diving in to say, I want to build something for the 75% that need the answers, where they feel they have been wronged by the industry, but also making sure that they're being taken care of and that they're being heard. And that is where Capital Health came from.
That's amazing. So tell me, in terms of how you grew up and your childhood and how that impacted on your life, on your purpose and your passion. And one
I
of the reasons I always ask my guests these questions is because I work with parents and their kids. And oftentimes, when you consider, you know, it's interesting because so many adults have had such childhood traumas that it led them to do what they do because of
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I mean, it's not just our experiences to which it feeds our soul, almost a story to which helps shape us into the person that we are. And with my situation, I feel as though that because of my life experience and a lot of the trauma that I endured, it allowed me to wake up more clearly to my purpose and be able to actually hear my intuition much more readily available. Because I have very much had my mother was a functioning alcoholic, and she was not diagnosed bipolar yet. It was the 80s. There wasn't a lot of information about it, but she remained functional to be able to raise my sister and I through our informative years to a certain point. However, unbeknownst to her, she went to college, got married, fell in love, or not in that order, obviously, like fell in love, got married, and it was the 80s. Come on, people, like things are a little different now. But when it came down to that, here my sister, was born in the 80s, her not knowing that she was bipolar. So of course, after her birth, ended up having a visit into the psych ward, and the same thing occurred after I was born. But then also the discovery of finding out that after marrying my father, what ended up transpiring is the realization of his narcissism and his sociopathic tendencies, to the point where he was extremely abusive, not only to her, but then also acquired custody of my sister and I, especially in the 80s, where here's a undiagnosed bipolar and we don't know what's wrong with her, but she's had 2 stints in the psych ward, in comparison to my father, who was a possible, offender, or a possible abuser. And so the courts actually gave him custody, and then my sister and I continued to be raised on eggshells until we broke free. I believe I was in 6th grade when we were able to break free, and that was actually he there are 2 attempts on my life that he actually performed, unbeknownst to him on if it was intentional or not, but it's still, yeah, you can't go back on that.
Oh my God. So at 6 years old, where did you guys go?
Well, my mother actually decided to go figure out what was wrong with her, and in realizing there were unhealthy habits, and that it was unhealthy for her to remain in that relationship, and so she put herself through treatment to where they discovered that she was bipolar and put her on medication, and she went into a treatment program and became clean, and to this day has. I just turned 40 on Sunday, so she has 35 years under her belt and continues to rock it strong. And then she also became one of, the top drug rehab specialists in the Chicago area, and actually wrote a lot of their adolescent and their adult programs. So she was a tremendous woman that took, a lot of what had happened to her and really changed the gear to be able to put out her purpose for other people and save lives, and all of that nature. So it's very interesting because it's like the experiences that we go through in life, we don't necessarily understand what was the purpose of going through it, but I have always had that very deranged ability of being able to see the light in all darkness and the learning lesson to which God is presenting in all situations, regardless of how twisted they might be.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, congratulations to your mom.
Yes,
Especially,
absolutely.
yes, and especially since she had the strength and the courage to leave that toxic environment.
Absolutely. And honestly, I mean, if she hadn't, our life would have been tremendously different. And then my sister and I's discovery of self would have been much more prolonged if she had not. I always joke that, she's exactly the mother I needed to be. A lot of people don't understand our mother-daughter dynamic. And it's like, she's the mother that I need her to be in listening and processing when I've gone through things. We don't necessarily have a lot of the nurturing aspect that most mothers and daughters do, and that is because of the experiences that we've gone through. But it's also after getting out of that house and getting into the next phase in life, it was like I had to go through a lot of the understanding. There was a lot of anger, there was a lot of frustration, because as a child I was 4. Where did my mother go? Well, she was trying to do right for herself to get better for us so that she could be the mother. And knowing that, understanding that today, it's easy for me to understand that. But as a child, I had to
Right.
really come to terms with trying to understand that she had to identify she wasn't well and that she needed help. And then thankfully, she was able to get the connections and go through the recovery process, and then also go back to school and understand her illness more, and get her to a more expanded state of self. And in doing that, it was tremendous. And then after that, it was waiting for us to be able to set free, because my mother, and my grandfather very much stepped in and was the male representation that I needed. He was one of my best friends like that. I joked to my mother, is it strange that we have the same father? Like, we don't physically have the same father. That would be a totally different episode. But
Right,
like,
right.
I've always readily made that joke of how strange it was that we had the same father. And if anything, she thought it was incredible and completely necessary, because it was what he stepped in and was the strong masculine male that I needed in my upbringing to help guide me and get me where I needed to be. And because I could take his constructive criticism and I could also hear his life lectures of perspective, going through what I had gone through, I knew he was correct. I knew that he was accurate in his delivery. I could, of course, tell when, certain things, where some of his faults were, and those types of things, as you do when you start to get older and you start seeing your parents as actual humans instead of superior. but it
Right, right.
but it was one of those things where, it taught me to be able to self-actualize myself, identify, where I needed to expand, and put my pride aside and actually hear and learn about yourself and how to evolve and get yourself to the next level to where you need to be.
Well, kudos to you. So what was your path to becoming this fitness and wellness guru? Where where did that come from?
Well, that was the natural athleticism that our family has kind of always possessed, and so there, it was actually an internal drive that can't really explain. When I learned a sport, I always enjoyed the activity. I would understand the heart of the game. I would pour myself into it, and one thing led to a next, where I started understanding the pieces of how performance plays out. There's a method of what you're feeding your mind, what you're feeding your body, what you are, putting your body through on a physical level, then dictates how the outcome can be. And it's, how you go through that process in training profoundly affects, the outcome, or can potentially, affect the outcome. Do you need your body to show up the way that it needs to? So therefore, do the action, do the work, and then reap the reward. And so, it was interesting because in my studies, I would find that not all of the classic old school education on nutrition and health, like nutrition, health, mind, body, even when it comes to like exercise, it affects every person individually differently. How your body reacts to food is different to how my body reacts to food. Our genetics can be an influential factor, but it does not have to be the defining cause. And so when you dive into those types of things, you start to see on how the health industry really does a fad pitching trend. It's like every time you have an article that comes out, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, eggs are bad. Then like next thing you know, no, it's not the eggs, it's this. And like it's almost like recycled articles that keep being republished. It's not new information. It's just being told a different, almond milk and oat milk is on the rise, like, so there's all these different types of things that are huge influential factors on how they affect us. But unless we have the education of knowing what is in play for us individually, our bodies, but also about the education of what to do and how to reap those rewards. That's what I really wanted to focus in on. It was not having people constantly sacrifice from their day in and day out, because what ends up happening is, if you have a kid that's sick, what happens? You have to cancel your day to be able to provide for the sick child. If you forgot your gym shoes, you just, ended up changing your workout, or if not, skipping it entirely. There were so many different things I was witnessing clients experience. And I got tired of the sacrifices. I said I wanted to create a company where people didn't have to self-sacrifice anymore from their goals. And I wanted to provide an environment to which it was accommodating for them. And with that, really intensified how much customization actually needs to be considered in every individual's process, and not only in their plans on a wellness factor on their physical body, but also their internal. Because what a lot of times people don't realize is where we carry our weight also is an indication on what's going on with your body, not just on hormones and cholesterol and those types of things. We're talking also on an energetic level of dealing with masculine and feminine energy. Those that are carrying weight that is more predominant in their waistline not only could have an insulin deficiency, but they also could have an issue with feminine energy, meaning like more, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's mommy issues, but it definitely means that there is a difference between how they're handling feminine energy, on if their body's able to receive love and light. On when it comes to your weight being distributed on your hips, that is more masculine energy issues or daddy issues. Like, so there's definitely dynamics of our past reflected on our body and how we are actually distributing that. And a lot of people don't realize that, sometimes when you've done the muscle work, you've done the training, you've done everything you possibly can, and that knee's still not doing it, and there's no indication that there should be anything wrong, who's having issues with stepping into their new way of life? Where are they going? How do they want to be seen? Being able to discover what that next look is. Sometimes those issues play out on aches and pains in our body, and we have to address those traumas and really connect with ourselves. And coincidentally, when you do, and you do get connected to your soul self, you can lift a lot of those traumas right out of your body, and
Oh
they don't
my
come back.
God. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We have a lot to talk about. And this show is called Wealthy Enlightenment. And the purpose is for us to look at, when we talk about wealthy enlightenment, we're talking body, mind, spirit, and soul. And with you being a fitness and wellness coach and guru, you take it a step beyond what most do, because you are not only looking at the health in terms of your diets and what you're eating and all that stuff, but you're assessing where the pain is and what may cause that pain based
Mhm.
on based on your perceptions and the things you've gone through, maybe as a child, maybe not as a child, but maybe some other things have happened in life that's impacted on your physical health.
Right.
And so this is powerful. And we were talking earlier today, because we're both co-hosts on Thriving Women Network, and we happen to be on the same show today, co-hosting. And that's when I was just fascinated by the conversation that we had. And I'm just grateful that you were available tonight because of my cancellation again. Um,
It
but
happens, and everything happens the way it's supposed to. You just don't
yes,
question
it
it, go with the
does.
universe. And the funny thing is like, the conversations that you have pre-show and post-show are some of the most entertaining. And so I always tell people they need to record the whole thing, just so that you can get to some of the really great components that
Yes,
make up a show, especially
yes,
those crucial conversations that can be so impactful. And it was just in small talk, small talk.
yes. And it was. It was small
Yeah.
talk, but it was powerful stuff because I suffer from arthritis in both my knees, um, as a result of falling on concrete, is why both my knees are jacked up.
Mhm.
And I told you I was on cortisone, and you mentioned some other alternatives. And so I want to talk about, for people who may have arthritis, I want to talk about that, and some of the other remedies that they might be able to take that's more natural, holistic. I am not one for taking medications. I want to talk about that as well, and the impact that medications have on us
Yeah.
when our diets can provide us with what it is we need. So
You
I'm
know,
going to shut up and let you talk.
well, actually, I like the conversing back and forth because it kind of helps me kind of narrow down. And actually, as you were talking, I actually kind of I had a flashback of a post that the kid from Dawson's Creek, I think his name's Vanderbeek or something. I can't remember his full actor's name. I apologize to Vanderbeek wherever you are. I did watch Dawson's Creek, so I should know the answer to that. But I had seen a post that he had done, and I think he did it about 6 months ago. And what I really loved is that he showed a video on how he had this old stove. And from that old stove, you burn the wood. What ends up happening, soot starts to collect on the glass. And so I guess he was transpiring with one of his neighbors on how to get the soot off. They had tried all these different cleaning products. You had tried all these different things. And what ended up happening is he ended up taking a handkerchief, he dipped it in water, took that water, put it into old soot, and then wiped the glass clean, perfectly clean. And so this is one, and the reason why I thought of this when you were just talking is because so much of our answers to our health issues is found in nature. And the sad
Say
thing
that
is,
again. Say it again. Let me put you up front so that you can say that again.
so many of the solutions to our health concerns is found in nature. And
Of
so
course.
what ends up happening is we have, a society norms of where our, and I'm not going to knock Western medicine entirely. I use Western medicine as kind of divine intervention, right? When we have something that's in the extreme of the car accident, or an organ failure or something, like there's reasons why we have that kind of methodology. But when you are taking Western medicine and you are eliminating thousands upon thousands of years of holistic medicine that has been created through Chinese medicine, all the different countries of the world. I mean, when you travel, there's different countries that have different teas that do certain things to help regulate your nervous system or aid in digestion, or all of these different herbs or essential oils, or acupuncture care. There's all these different trends. And what I've noticed over the years is that, sometimes it takes somebody that travels to a different land, they learn the practice, they come home, and then they decide to patent it and call it something different. And then they kind of repeat this cycle into their system. Good for business, that's fantastic. But at the same time, you have to go back to kind of the OG of who created it, right? And so for even muscle care, a lot of times right now you're seeing people that are doing cupping and muscle scraping, right? And cupping's been around for a long time. Muscle scraping is being seen as almost something that is new. However, it is also known as gua sha, which is what they used to do in Chinese medicine. It's been around for thousands of years. So it's not
Explain
new.
it.
So
Explain it.
gua sha is actually a myofascial release technique that actually focuses on the muscle itself. And what ends up happening is it breaks down the tissue. So the adhesions within the muscle that actually are causing hindrances of movement and your range of motion, and being able to get to that expansive. Like when you have tension on your muscle has a tendency to have that buildup. That fascia starts to build up on the body, kind of similar to like a hashtag. You have to break the tissue down. It increases your range of motion. The muscle starts to heal in the form that it should have been healing all of this time. Well, then what ends up happening, so you use different techniques to release that. Cupping has a benefit of that. You can even use dry needling is being used, which technically is, dry needling is now used only because insurance companies won't cover certain types of needling, such as acupuncture. There was a lot going on, but then we're going into the political corruption of healthcare system, how insurance is actually dictating what kind of blood work numbers that you can get instead of leaving it to the professional. And so we're seeing this really great division between our more Western medicine to our more holistic practices. And the sad thing is we need both. We need all of it to be integrated together. We don't need to be going into extremists and saying, oh, it's only this way or it's only that way. It said we need to take the best of all things. It's kind of like what I say about a diet. You sit there and you have all these different fad diet trends, and everybody preaches that everything works for them, or so on and so forth. Or paleo did this, or Mediterranean diet did that, or zone diet affected me XYZ. And the fact is we should be taking a little bit of every single one of them and blending it to our customized needs individually. And so, I love a jasmine essential oil blend, but I also know that if I use it in a setting to where I'm going to be around a lot of people, I will totally be the fleety fairy in the room. Like I can't stay grounded. Like I just go crazy.
Really?
Yes, I do. And that's because my energetic healing abilities I have a tendency to come outside of my body energetically when I'm healing. And so jasmine actually kind of feeds that, where most people would use jasmine for anxiety and grounding. So instead, I actually will switch out my jasmine for a rose when I need something that is more anchoring. And so
Now,
it's, yes.
okay, so these oils now, essential oils are used in many different ways. So,
Mhm.
how do you use your oils? Do you ingest them or do you
All of
diffuse
the
them?
above. All of the above. So certain oils you do not ingest because you cannot necessarily do that. You have some oils that are basically great for putting on the bottom of your feet, the back of your spine, even possibly on whatever ailment issue is the problem. And then you also have the option of diffusing it and then actually having it be more of the aroma. So when I actually use a device called a Tovi, which is it's a bioimpedance scanner. So it basically sends a vibrational electrical pulse into your body, and it actually helps tell you which oil you're in need of. And so yeah, it's a
Really?
yes. You just hold on to it, and you put your thumb on top. It has your hands, and it literally will scan, and then it will say, okay, and it does an assessment over your brain, your neural system, like your bones, all of the different things. And it identifies,
What?
yeah, even when your immune system is not doing well, it will spike up and say, hey, your immune system's struggling. Let's make sure we add on oregano or we add on,
So,
or
where do
vitamin.
you get this? Where do you get this device?
Company is called Itovi. It's Itovi. And so they actually they came out with it several years ago, and they really designed it for a lot of their essential oil salespeople. So people that are doing Young Living or doTERRA or things of that nature. Now, a way that you can be able to save money and be able to do that is through muscle testing. And so muscle testing is a way to basically see if it is in alignment with what your body is needing. So usually people that muscle test, they'll actually, put their hand on their chest, they'll put their hand on their head, they'll either grab a wrist or a hand. They, like there's a muscle movement of resistance, of testing the strength of resistance within the body. Usually if it stays with you, your body needs it. If it pulls away, there's something of that nature. But what I end up doing is I actually I encourage a lot of my people, so I will say, okay, I want you to stand up, I want you to close your eyes, and then I want you to speak to yourself and say, show me a yes. Now usually when you do that, Vera, I encourage you to do that right now. So we're gonna like sit
Right
here
now?
right now. We're going to do
Okay.
this in our chair. We're going to do it on the
Okay.
experiment. So I want
Okay.
you to
Okay.
tone into your body. I want you to close your eyes. I want to take a deep breath, just like you did before the show, as before we said our pre-show prayer. So connect with your body, and then I want you to say, "Show me a yes," and pay attention to how your body reacts. Does it lean forward? Does it move to the left? Does it
Oh,
have a
yes.
particular feeling?
Show me a yes.
Now, after that, I want you to say, show me a no. And I want you to see if there's a difference between the two feelings.
Show me a no. Show me a yes.
So now, when I do this with my clients, sometimes I have them standing up because it's easier for your body to where the emotion is. And what happens to me is usually when I say show me a yes, my body moves forward. When I say show me a no, my body moves back. So then that gives me
Wow.
the opportunity to say, okay, here's this essential oil. Is this good for me? Am I needing this? Show me.
What?
And then your body will actually gravitate towards what you're needing. It's a really strong way of you being able to stay connected to your higher self and what your soul and your internal higher self, your spirit guides, your guardian angels, God's source, whatever you want to call it. The title doesn't matter. The point is paying attention to what your body is trying to tell you waking up that awareness from within so that you can actually be connected to your soul self and then provide what it needs. You can do it with food too. Like, I mean, why do you think a lot of children are so adamant of not eating like rice or a banana? They, my daughter, she was having struggling a lot with her stomach issues. I specialize in food sensitivities. So when we moved to here to Texas, she was having a lot of anxieties, tummy issues. And so I eliminated the top allergens out of her diet entirely. She was still having issues. Then we went and got her blood work done. So we tested her food sensitivities. Sure enough, rice was on her list. Every single time her dad served her rice, he's Polynesian. Like, you can't not have rice in your meal. Like, I mean, it almost was a religious rule 3 times a day when I first started
Right.
again.
And you
Like,
know what? We grew up eating rice every day. You know how most people
yeah,
eat potatoes and stuff?
meat and
We
potatoes.
had
Yeah,
rice every day.
yeah.
And
So
so that's interesting. Anyway, go ahead.
well, and overexposure can create the intolerant. So that, a lot of times if you had peas and carrots every day, I mean, eventually you're going to be allergic to peas and carrots. So like, these types of things we're not aware of. But as soon as we did the testing, it was like she naturally kept saying, I don't want to eat this rice. We didn't listen because we were being just, you eat what's on
Parents.
your food. Like, you eat what's on your plate. Don't waste food. The classic things that we were told when we were parents. Now, I don't do that. I actually, when my child is having an aversion to an individual, or if they're having a hard time learning a lesson, or they're even having a resistance to a particular food or a situation, instead of pushing them through it, and I do believe in learning from the situation to grow past it. So knowing that I am going to encourage growth and expansion, but first I need to understand, what are we trying to grow? What is the hindrance and the emotional component behind the resistance, or behind which is causing the strain? If I can identify that, then I can start saying, where is that stemming from? Is it something that got created in their youth? Like, usually a lot of times our formative years is where a lot of our trauma, or the stories to which we tell ourselves what has happened, and then we go with it our whole life. And then we come to find out that we're 50, and every time so and so says what a particular word, we're like, ugh, we have that resistance, right? And it's like, well, where did that come from? Because, my apologies, my dogs clearly love chasing people in the backyard. But it was one of those things where you start to identify, where is this stemming from? When in my life did I tell myself this story? Or, whether it was our external perception, it was our internal perception, where did this come from, and what emotion was it tied to? What kind of hindrances is it causing? And a lot of times it doesn't say that it was wrong for us to do so in our youth. It was that we bought the story because we needed it during our growth to get us to where we are today. But then once we start realizing that that becomes a hindrance in our future growth, that's when it needs to be released. And that's when you say, oh, thank you so much. You're retired. Bye. I don't need you anymore.
Wow. You are a wealth of knowledge and
Well, that was the
wisdom.
show, right? That's what we were supposed to do, right? It was wealth enlightenment. And, it's funny.
Right.
Yeah, and when you sit there and you talk, I love the fact that you were focusing so much on how much wealth is enlightenment, because there's a lot of social media right now where they're pitching wealth as money, or wealth as success levels. And the fact is that it really comes down to our self-worth and and the self-love that we have
Yes.
for ourselves. And if we don't have that, that is what wealth is. Wealth is the acknowledgement of
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, when we're talking about wealth, we have to look at every aspect of our lives,
that. Hmm.
spiritual wealth, mental
Yes.
wealth, physical, mental, emotional, you
Hmm.
know, all of those things are invaluable. And if
Right.
we can tap into those things, then I am convinced that the monetary wealth will follow. But we've got to be
Absolutely.
And we've got to be in tune with all these other things first.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. And it's also understanding the dynamic. It's like when you're the monetary wealth comes in when you are starting to come to acceptance with who you are as an individual, but also understanding the relationship dynamic that you have, the complexity that are in play. With me, it was really I even struggle sometimes with that because during each phase in your life something new shows up, right? And so as I became a mother, for me, that was a hard one because I didn't have a normal childhood. I didn't have a quote, healthy childhood. And so, because I had not experienced what a normal child was allowed to experience, I very much had to, I always kind of was looking around the corner thinking I did something wrong because usually I was immediately told as soon as I dropped, you know, it's like when you decide to go out for a run or you go out for a walk and you have that moment where you just released all of your worries and you are just existing. Those were the times where in life someone would swoop in and do some kind of auto correction, and then I was always constantly looking over my shoulder even when I was in peace mode, because it was the reprimandation that I would inquire, whether it was legitimate or not, which most of the time it wasn't legitimate, just out of my circumstances. But it was really starting to be able to piece together, oh, okay, what am I worthy of? What is my value? If you're feeling as though, people aren't putting the time into you, then you might start to convince yourself that you're not deserving of people's attention. And that actually might be hindrance in your growth of wealth and in a monetized value, is because then you're trying to control money coming in and out of your life instead of honoring and trusting that it's always going to be there for you. And a lot of that has to do with trust within ourselves, because most of the time it's like, look at look at all we've been through, all the crazy, all the stories. I'm still here. You're still here. We survived. We're okay. Look what we're doing now. We're spreading word. And yes, we're going to have our good days and our bad days. But more importantly, it's about identifying that it's all going to work out. We have to
Yes.
trust in that.
Yes.
Also have to have the reliability that you're going to have your own back, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
you're going to show up for yourself because you deserve to take care of yourself. And if we can start realizing that we've got our own back, then why are we worrying ourselves so much more on the things that we can't control? Because control is good.
Exactly. Exactly. And so gain control of who we are.
Mhm.
Hold yourself accountable for
Absolutely.
who you are, and understand that the only thing that you can do is relate, respond, and react based on you. You
Yes.
don't have any control over other people, and they don't have any control over you. So
It
you
is
need to
a
understand
conscious
that.
choice. It is a
It's a
conscious choice
choice.
in what you allow people to put you through. It's
Allow.
not. It's not, oh, hey, they made me do this or they made me feel
Right.
this. No, you
Right.
chose to allow them
Yes.
to make you
Oh,
feel that way.
girl. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I am quick when someone says, "You made me do this." No,
You made a choice.
you made
Where's
a choice and you decided this
And even
for
if I gave you
yourself.
options, I might have given you a
Right.
to be option, but you still made a choice. And all
Absolutely.
present a boundary to which this is what I'm willing to do, and this is where my scope is, to which I'm
Right. Exactly.
and that is and guess what? There's also a choice of not participating in any of it. So
Absolutely.
it may have been got given two choices, but you actually had three. And that third one was non-participation entirely. And you still
Exactly.
has the right to do that. But when you start to
Exactly.
control someone's choices, when you start to control what their belief system, how they approach, how they talk, how they do, now you're fighting and you're teaching that individual that they're not worthy enough and that their existence is not enough. And that's
Right.
not okay.
Exactly. And when you allow yourself for that to happen to you, then you're also saying to yourself, I'm not worthy. And so having boundaries, Know what your must-haves are. Recognize what is a deal breaker,
Right.
in relationships, and stand firm on that. And you
Right.
know what? I can't believe I've got a commercial to do. I have a couple of commercials. So I'm going to do those. I'm going to just do them back to back so that we can come back and continue. I can't believe, oh my God, we've only got 15 minutes left. Okay, this is, oh my God.
One
Okay,
time, guys. Let's pay attention to our sponsors.
yes. And here comes one now.
Been feeling myself for a minute. Hallelujah. Amen.
Hey there, Jason McNamara here, and I'm about to drop something truly game-changing your way. Are you tired of the same old 9-to-5 grind? Feeling stuck in obtaining the life you deserve and craving something more? Well, listen up, because I've got something you will not want to miss. Introducing the No More 9-to-5 Club Professional Membership, your ticket to freedom and success in the entrepreneurial world. With our professional membership, you'll get access to weekly coaching sessions, pre-recorded trainings, and a vibrant community of fellow game changers. You get access to technology that will allow you to automate passive income streams, as well as unlock all of our expert-led trainings in the back office so you know where to go for good advice when you need it. You will also use the club to build up a residual income stream with a 2-tier 33% affiliate commission unlocked at this level, allowing you to help people help themselves while generating a residual passive income stream for yourself. And here's the kicker. For a limited time, you can unlock all of this just for a $1.11 donation to our club foundation.
I like this one.
Your first month is on us. So what's holding you back? Click the link below, make your donation, and let's start building the life and business of your dreams together. Here at the No More 9-to-5 Club, we're all about turning dreams into reality and smashing through those glass ceilings.
That's what I'm talking about, Jake.
Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, we've got the tools and support you need to thrive and evolve. And don't forget to sign up for our bootcamp training. It's the perfect way to kickstart your journey and unlock even more perks. So what are you waiting for? Join the No More 9-to-5 Club today, and let's make those dreams a reality. I can't wait to see you on the inside. You only get one now. Invest it in your better future. Let's make magic happen together.
In a world where authenticity is the key, unlock your brand's potential with ADM's game-changing marketing solutions. We craft striking logos that embody your brand's spirit and build websites that captivate and convert. Our lead generation strategies are tailored to your needs, driving growth and boosting your bottom line. And our content, well, it's not just content. It's a narrative, a story that connects and resonates with your audience. But here at ADM, we're about more than just exceptional services. We're about authenticity, about staying true to who you are and what you stand for, because realness, that's what makes a brand unforgettable. So if you're ready to elevate your brand with authenticity and excellence, follow this page. Dive deeper into the world of divine marketing and become part of our community. Because at ADM, we're not just about making brands, we're about making brands matter.
Divine marketing. Let me tell you, if you are looking for someone to help you with branding and marketing and doing videos for you and all those kinds of things, you want to contact Divine Marketing. And you can go to Facebook and DM her. Her name is Ariel Chime. So you want to check her out. And No More 9-to-5, let me tell you, No More 9-to-5 is an organization, a platform that includes networking. It includes masterminds and different types of trainings. It includes an opportunity to explore additional revenue streams. If you work a 9-to-5, and you are looking for other ways to monetize and generate, or even learn how to use your purpose and your passion to generate income for yourself, then you want to check out No More 9-to-5. If you are an entrepreneur or you want to be an entrepreneur, if you are a coach or a leader or anything like that, and you want to enhance what you do, you want to check out No More 9-to-5. And the link, I put it in the comments, and it's right here as well. So check out Divine Marketing and No More 9-to-5. All right. We've got 10 minutes. I can't believe it. Oh my, how time has flown.
I know.
Okay.
It's always fun.
There's a couple of things that because of your expertise and you talked about how we need to kind of mesh medicine and holistic healing
Hmm.
processes. What would you suggest to the audience who, because I think it's important when you go to a doctor, it's important that you take ownership for what's happening with you and that you ask questions.
Hmm.
So I'd like for you to just kind of touch on that as whatever thoughts are coming to your mind right now about what can you give our audience that's going to help them make better decisions about their health. That's how I
Right.
should put it.
I think right now it's the people don't necessarily know what information they're being given and or the reasons why they're given certain information. So, it's very much of some of the horror stories of going into the doctor and then not getting the answers that you're looking for, or being told that you're crazy or that it's not a thing. There's also just even when you jump into the doctor might have a certain viewpoint of how to handle a particular issue. Um, being it's sickness or what, a broken bone or something of that nature. And there's a lot of internally, it's no different than when you feel that you're on to something or that something's in alignment with you or it's a match, right? It's like we don't have regrets when we get a really great haircut and we see it going the way that it needs to, right? When you sit down in the chair and you get that bad feeling of, ooh, if they cut that, that's going to be shorter than what I wanted. And then you just sat there and watched it happen. Right. And so at the end of the day, like you end up leaving and you're unsatisfied with your haircut. Well, one, did you speak up for yourself? Did you address your concerns? Did you actually become educated into the method of what was happening and transpiring? Right. No different on if you had gotten a different color, then there might have been, oh no, this toner's gonna bring it down. It's becoming educated on what's going on with your body and actually really figuring out what's in alignment for you and the course going forward and dealing with any issue that you might be arising. It's like I cannot tell people what treatment plan that they need to select when it comes to a particular cancer or it comes to how to do something. They need to be a participant in their life and their history and what they're willing to handle and take on and what they are not. And I think every individual is different when it comes to that answer. And we have to come to a place of honoring that person and where they are at in their journey. And even if we see people where we know where that's going, it's more about identifying, that's an opinion on how I think they should approach it because that's what I would do. Don't project your stuff onto other people.
Thank you.
Take a step back,
Absolutely.
honor the space to which they're going through. And then if there is information that can be shared, it's would you consider X and why would you consider it? And so therefore you're having those conversations to understand the individual human and their process in life and not pushing your belief systems onto another individual. What happens to a doctor and them is between them and their doctor. And if they want to invite me to the conversation, I'm happy to be a participant. But the fact is, the individual has to choose.
Absolutely. And one of the things I can impress upon the audience how important it is that you do ask questions when you
Mm-hmm.
go to the doctor. And if there's something you don't understand, ask for clarification. And I know with me, for example, I am so adverse to taking medication. I really am. And there was a point in time where my doctor thought I was on the verge of high blood pressure. and
Hmm.
suggested that I was going to need to take medication. And I asked her, it's like, well, is there something else I can do rather than take medication? And she said, and she was from India. And she said to me, well, in our culture, turmeric
Hmm.
is a main staple. And we talked about this earlier
And
today
turmeric
too.
helps with with your arthritis as well. I mean, it helps with
Yes,
joints and all of that. I mean, even with arthritis, it's like you can use essential oils, you can use CBD bombs to help you, especially when you have days like the storms we had in Texas today. That would irritate anybody's arthritis to an astronomical degree. It's making sure you're having healthy practices of regular activities so that you're not putting too much pressure on the joint system to exacerbate it, make it worse. There's so many different things, but it's for you, it's also, I mean, it's trial and error to say, okay, I heard these options, I'm going to implement this for a small window, see how my body reacts to it. Some people may not notice a difference, some people notice an immediate difference, but it's about finding what that plan looks like for you and for
absolutely. Absolutely. And don't be, and you gave the analogy about going to the hairdresser, getting your hair done, and then hating what they did, but then walking out all upset, and the hairdresser has no clue because you didn't communicate to her. And that's one of the other issues. People don't want to express how they're feeling. And
right.
it's not what we say, but how we say it that can make all the difference in the world. So we are just trying to encourage you to be informed. Whatever it is that you are going through, whatever options you are exploring, be informed and ask questions, especially where doctors are concerned. Find out and then I think about all these ads that are on TV, all these medications, and then all the side effects that
That
could lead to death.
for them to list. It takes them I have actually timed it to see how long the list is, and it is now surmounting to between a minute and a half and a 2 minute of just listing the side effects for a medication that's supposed to help you sleep or regulate a hormone. I mean, it's just there's so many different things that are to be done. I mean, right now, especially sleep when it's such a big deal, what is one of the reasons why we're not sleeping? Because we're remaining overstimulated before our brain knows to start releasing melatonin into our system. And so then our body has gotten out of practice. Well, guess what? Our body naturally releases it. So train your body to reactivate it by desensitizing or exposure to the electronics, blue lights, keeping yourself stimulated before bedtime, an hour and a half before bedtime. Do something more relaxing, meditative, and then start taking your melatonin, a small, tiny one or two size. You don't need a lot of the brands that promote sleeping, the reason you sleep so well is because they knocked you with a good 10 milligrams. And like, yeah, like you're gonna have a sleeping giant on your hands for sure, but like, let's not we don't need that. The point is to train your body to get it activated and start doing it naturally, and then you can start reaping the benefits. But we have to start identifying the puzzle pieces to fix the madness.
Yes. And listen, if you guys have enjoyed this conversation and you want to talk to Abby about your health, your wellness, and wealthy enlightenment, if I'm telling you, you need to talk to her. And so you can find her on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. Just go to Abby Pagood. Did I say it right? Okay.
It doesn't matter what you call me as long as you do it. Fine. They can also go to capitalhealth.com, and they can also check out, I have two podcasts that I provide educational awareness. One that's called The Capital Life. It's KAPITOL life. And then I also have one that's more focused on metaphysics and energetics and healing. And that one's called Embracing the Wild. So you can reach that on all your podcasting platforms as well.
And when does your show air? Or when do you do it live, or is it
I usually do a pre-recorded just because some of the guests that I have to be mindful to their work schedules and their creations because I do get a lot of people like us. So I try to release them on Saturdays. I say I release them on Saturdays. Sometimes I do not release them on Saturdays, but
Okay.
but I pre-record them. I definitely love our awesome platform StreamYard that helps me. So at some point I'll get to the point of having them more consistently live so that people can ask questions. But I encourage anybody to go to my website, any questions they have or anything, they can either write a question in the descriptive box on my podcast platforms, or they can also go to capitalhealth.com and fill out the contact us and then submit their request for more information. And I'm happy to create an episode entirely around that idea when that shows up.
Awesome. Well, I do want to get on your show as well. Well, listen, we have so ran out of time. And if you are interested in supporting the Vera Thomas Show, you can go to Cash App, $ in still great, Venmo at VT1117, or Zelle Vera Thomas Show 1117 at gmail.com. Your support is appreciated. And Abby, I appreciate you. I
I
personally
appreciate you,
feel
Vera.
this is, I believe this has been a very valuable show. And if people
It
will
was great.
take heed to what was said, and just remember, you're in control of your body, you're in control of your mind, you're in control of your emotions. And it's not about what may have happened to you in the past, it's how you react, relate, and respond. So
Mhm.
thank you all very much. And if you will hold on for a minute, and we will see you all next on Thursday. Yes. And so God bless you all and have a great, great evening.
The Vera